So we're at our school and we're beginning to grill slowly, and we're going to make a grill and chill video.
But mostly just eating because it's super late today.
Yeah, it is super late.
But yeah, talking
About pride and about LGBT topics and about coming out and all that fancy stuff, since it's Pride Month. So
yeah.
hopefully that'll be fine. We have finally put stuff on the grill now, and it's grilling. Grill stuff.
Is that what you want to talk about?
No, because I'm not very good at grilling.
How's it going, Grill Master?
So well. No, it's just because since it's Pride Month and everything, we thought that it might be nice to talk about LGBT related subjects and about our stories, our own stories. If you guys haven't figured out by now, I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, I am extremely lesbian. Victoria's bisexual. But we have very different stories about like figuring out our queerness and coming out. And I mean, I think my route was a bit more complicated, or not necessarily complicated, but more, I think that was underway for many years, and you don't have that much of a coming out story, which is also really fascinating. And I think that's really nice to hear a story like that too, because it gives a different sort of perspective, and I think that both stories are very valid. Yeah.
Look at that beautiful sky.
It's becoming night,
Yeah.
but we still haven't heard Victoria's story.
So now I'm in the interview chair, I guess. With a spotlight.
Okay.
No.
So, when did you first suspect that you might be queer?
Oh wow. I think like, you know, when I like really started thinking about maybe I'm not that straight, was actually not that long ago. It was like back in 2015, 14, 15. But I've known about it, known about, you know, being gay and like being attracted to like the same gender for a long time, because I have a like, I kind of call her my aunt, but she's my dad's cousin. She lives in New York, and we have visited her a couple of times. And the first time I met her, I was 11, I think. And my parents were like, oh yeah, so she's into women and stuff like that. And I mean, when you're 11, I don't really know if you really understand what that means. And I think for the longest time I really didn't really think about it. You know, I don't think you really think about it until it's like, yeah, you're really old. I don't know. Like, you really have to mature into realizing what it means to be attracted to someone, and especially attracted to your own gender, I think. I got a friend who wrote like on Tumblr, like the role-playing community there, and I bullied her into helping me starting up one. No, I just like asked, and I was like really interested because it looked fun and nice, and I wanted to improve my English writing skills, so that's kind of why I started writing. And then because that was a really huge community where, you know, because it's a shipping thing, it's kind of like fan fiction, but you write it with someone else as well. But that kind of started the whole thing, I think, with the shipping thing. And then also on my original character, started being some like female shipping and stuff like that. And I think for maybe some time I got a bit confused, because I was like, in the beginning I was like, no, like shipping like that. But then as it went on, there was also something in me that was like, this is kind of interesting. Or maybe it's more like, okay, someone's are interested in, which is not me, it's the character that I'm writing. But so it was also that kind of feeling, because when you're writing, especially something like that, at least that's how I feel, like when you're writing, it's, you're not writing, you're writing for another character. So it was really hard to figure out, okay, is it me or is it the character who feels like that? A year went by, I think, or something, and then I graduated high school, and then I didn't really know what to do with my life. Then by that point I was like, okay, let's just ship all the things. And it was mainly actually girls who because there was so many original characters. But then I visited a friend who I have met through the writing, the role-playing community. And I mean, we were just friends back then when I came and visited. And then I was there for 3 weeks. And the first week I felt a bit weird about being there, because she had to go to school and stuff, and I was just sitting home alone. And then she would come home, and then we would hang out and go to the city and see. At the end of the second week, because I had gotten lost while we were out, when we had to cross the road, because when it got green, suddenly everyone started more or less running, and I just, what is happening? So I stopped instead of continuing walking, and she was like, what are you doing? And then she grabbed my hand, and then kind of, because I also in general had a tendency to wander off, so we were holding hands a lot. And then after a week, the second week was nearly over, we sat an evening just chilling, and then she was like, would you want to kiss me? And then I also just said maybe, I don't know. So, and then we talked back and forth about it, and then she went to bed, and I stayed up all night talking with a friend about it, another mutual friend we had from the role-playing community, and we talked almost all night about whether I should kiss her or not. And then the morning after, I went into her room and we talked a bit more, and then we kissed. And I mean, then we had another week where it was all gay and happy, that kind of stuff. And then I had to go home, and that was really hard. And then when I came to Amsterdam, because I had a lot of had to change a lot of flights, and then we talked in that airport, and then we kind of agreed to be girlfriends. Even though, I mean, long distance, that is really hard, and there was a lot of stuff happening. But yeah, that kind of happened for almost a year. Yeah, then another half year went by, and then we got into the school, and then I met you, and then 3 months passed or something, and then we started dating, and yeah, then we became girlfriends, and now half a year later we're here. I don't know, because I never really had that big coming out thing. I think also it was very easy for me because, my girlfriend was in another country, it was easy to, kind of pretend it wasn't a thing, like in my everyday life, even though I cared about her a lot and I was rather needy. I think I've always been very secretive about a lot of stuff in my life. So obviously my parents knew about it because I got home from the States and then I just started crying because it was so hard. And then that's how I came out, or whatever you call it. My grandma, at one point she asked me flat out if she was my girlfriend because I kept talking about her and texting her and stuff like that. And then I was just like, oh yeah, she is. And then my grandma was just, okay, is she Christian? My grandma is, obviously she's from another generation, but she's also my, the aunt I have, my dad's cousin. When she came out back then, her family didn't take it very well, but my grandma was the one who took her in then. And my grandparents, they took her in and loved and cared for her. So that means a lot, and that also means that I didn't really have any problems. Like, I didn't have any fears about my grandma and my dad's side in general. With my ex in the States, she lives in California, which is also a pretty good state to live in. But still, she sometimes was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't, be as obvious as we can. Like, we're pretty obvious here in Denmark. And she was more, no, maybe not here. And we could hold hands, but sometimes we wouldn't kiss. And sometimes, she would be very aware of the looks people gave us and, listen to what people said. And I would be very naive and, unaware of all the stuff that was happening around me. It shouldn't concern other people who I'm with. But, then again, on Facebook, it's not official between Isabelle and I. And there's some people still where I feel like I should tell them what's going on. And in a way, I just really want to just post on Facebook and be like, hey guys, I'm with this beautiful woman and I really love her. But on the other hand, I'm also like, oh, but I don't actually know what I will set myself up to. And there are some friends who don't know yet who I'm with. And who I care about. I don't talk with them that much, but I still would. I would still want to be able to talk with them. So I don't really know about that, how I should go about it. It's a different issue for me than it is for Isabelle. I feel like I've never really claimed the LGBT community in the same way. The same with with Pride and everything. It has never really. I've never really felt the need to be a part of that. I do know in the back of my head that what I'm doing is different from what other people might think is normal. But maybe it's just because I'm used to it. I'm a not white person in a very white country. So maybe in a way I've always felt like I don't really belong. So at the end of the day, to me, it doesn't really matter because, I'm still me. The thing is, I've never really been good at being friends with guys in general. They have always been very, foreign to me. And I feel like in a way I have still troubles kind of connecting with guys. There's one guy right now in our class, or the other class, that I'm he's kind of cool and he's a nice friend. There's also other guys at the school who are cool enough, but I don't really talk with them. I have trouble sitting down and being like, hey, what's up? You had a nice day and stuff like that. I think that's hard. But so that's the thing, like romantically, like I think that's where I have a disconnection. I'm not quite sure if I'm really romantically interested in guys. With the sexual attraction, then I feel like more that I could, sexually be with both genders. But then again, I haven't actually been with a guy, so it's hard to say. Maybe it's just more of a label I've taken on because people, they kind of ask and they want you to have a label. They want you to wear a label, and for the longest time I didn't. Like when I was with my ex, and we still talk, so all is good. She's a very nice friend. She's a very good friend of mine. I didn't really put on a label, and she was okay with that. And I think it's only now, like when I started at art school with new community and stuff, I tried to put on that label, and now I've kind of like adjusted to it and feeling better about saying it. But I mean, I have never really talked with my parents about it. I talked briefly with them, like when we broke up, my ex and I talked about like, but it was more just a conversation about everything, and then I just said like, oh, if I bring home a guy or something, and then they were both like, oh, you said guy, what do you mean about that? And I was just, well, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really think that matters that much. I think the labels are hard. When I was younger, and for the longest time, and I think maybe still, I'm kind of I just want to find someone who can cook, because I'm really bad at cooking and I don't really care about cooking, but I really want nice food. Just like whatever floats your boat. But I mean, it is a thing that I don't connect that easily with guys. But maybe I haven't found the right guy yet. Sorry. Now it's pretty late, if anyone can still see me. But yeah, this was a very different kind of video, and hopefully you stuck to the end. Thank you if you did. And we're like, if you want to see more like this kind of video where we draw less but talk a bit more, then please like or subscribe or both, or comment down below, and then maybe also comment what else you would want us to talk about. For people who want to see more drawing videos, there will be more in the future. Sorry about this one. But yeah, bye guys, till next time.